Hey guys, it's Tyler here. I have solved some of my woes by simply snapping the end of my camera mount off and just sat it on my desk. Now I get this nice Dutch angle and my head perfectly blocks my stairwell in the background. There we go. um, I've got some stuff on the back wall so you can stare at that instead of my ugly mug if you choose, just cut the video off right there. Uh, Rolling Stag made a really, really good video, which will not be what happens here. This will be a lot more rambly. He says a lot of great stuff, and you should go watch that video, and I'll link it in the description for once. I actually have a description and tag him. What I want to tackle is something that he just mentions and then moves on and takes for granted, and I think it's something we haven't mentioned before. And he effectively calls tabletop RPGs an art form and says, we agree that not all art is created equal, right? The end product is something better or worse, and almost everybody can agree on that. He, points out the example of a child's crayon drawing versus a Rembrandt and says, yeah, there are obviously objective things that are better about one than the other. That's why a lot of us don't like modern art, which really postmodern art, that tackles the idea of, well, it's just the creation itself. It's just showing up to put something down is enough. That's really the culture of mediocrity that's gotten us to where we're at, right? You look at so many Marvel movies, the 18 Jurassic Park movies that they have for some reason now, and any criticism of them is met with, oh, it's a turn your brain off kind of movie. Oh, it's just fun. It's not an art house film, right? That's kind of the reductio ad absurdum, right? You're reducing the argument to its most extreme or absurd level and not acknowledging that there's some capacity for something to be better than it is, right? Because that would require you to put some work into it. It would require especially here, where when we're playing or running a tabletop, we are our own artists, be that, our own writer. And artist just means one who creates something, right, in the modern context. Don't take it as some, fancy term. We're the creators, right? So when something we do gets criticized, a method in which we do something gets criticized, we have one of two ways. You can respond to it, do I do that? And is that bad? Let me think about that for a moment and maybe change and improve. Or you can have these immediate reactionary gut responses like, oh, it's just about having fun, which is what he tackles excellently. What I want to tackle is, why does it matter at all, right? It's just a movie, it's just a game, it's just blank. Because that's the step beyond, oh, as long as we're having fun, is, well, why spend all your time on this anyways, right? It's, and particularly because the people we're going after in like the tear off your skin videos and going after, the audience of people who Rolling Stag says will probably be mad at this video, they're usually not the ones that are going to change their mind. Well, we're targeting people like myself a little over a year ago who hadn't even really thought of any of these concepts, but do want to improve, right? And the vast majority of stuff out there is it's throwaway content for the algorithm, it's throwaway content for the people who are already your audience, right? And I've said before, I'm not super interested in, trying to aggressively expand my audience, which you can tell by the lack of thumbnails and editing on all of my videos. May change at some point. I may do an actual thumbnail for this one. Probably not, though. It's just a quick video response. That all being said, that's the whole purpose, right? Is to get people who want to improve concrete ways and methods that they can improve. You know, it's really frustrating if you're trying to get better at playing an instrument, if you're trying to get better at drawing, and you specifically seek out a video on how do I get better at drawing, and 10 minutes of the video is shit you already know, and the other 5 minutes is, at the end of the day, guys, the notes you play don't really matter. As long as you're having fun. And it's like, you dense motherfucker, I'm not having fun. That's why I'm seeking the improvement, right? That's the thing. As long as you're having fun, what if I'm not? What if I'm not having fun and I'm seeking a solution to a problem? These problems, constant talking out of character, combat being way too slow, all of this, these are obstacles to fun. So, in the first place, saying as long as we're having fun is nonsensical. It's a non sequitur. When we are, Shauner would look at these hours and hours of gameplay and just scroll through and see if a player had a smile on their face ever. And they usually don't. That's what we're talking about. So it seems to me almost as if people are, what are they trying to hypnotize themselves into thinking they're having fun? It's mostly GMs that are making videos, and GMs are railroading their players a lot. And maybe while that GM is trying to tell their own story, they're having lots of fun expositing for 20, 30 minutes while their players sit there going, what's going on? Right. So, in the first place, make sure you even are having fun if that's your argument, right? That's something he doesn't mention, but, and I've talked about that before, but I guess it bears repeating, right? The second thing I would say is, right, on that subject of it being an art form, the old definition of art, the Chinese still use this in Kung Fu. Kung Fu does not mean a martial art specifically. Kung Fu simply means great skill. An art, a martial art, which he brings up, did not simply mean the ability to fight. It means the ability to fight well. It means the art of Mars, the god of war. This is a term coined by George Silver in 1599 in his book Paradoxes of Defense. Little bit of a digression, but I thought it was really interesting that he brings up martial arts because, again, you have people that will come to, I'm a martial arts instructor. I instruct catch wrestling and historical European martial arts, primarily longsword. Come hit us up at Stillwater Martial Arts if you're interested. The primary issue, right, that I face as an instructor is I have to pick one of two groups, one of two audiences. And one of them is the just have fun audience. And they're there. They want to get immediately into sparring. They don't want to learn a lesson at all. They just want to put on gear. Oftentimes they don't want to put on gear, but that's a different issue than role playing because it's actually dangerous. You won't just waste your time. And swing swords at each other. And that's the, why all this yapping? I just want to have fun. Right, okay, great. And you are having fun just swinging sticks at each other. The problem is the other people in class have come here to learn. The other people sitting at the table have come here to roleplay. You cannot think as long as you're having fun, and as long as everyone's having fun, that's an unachievable goal. No movie has a 100% approval rating, because not everyone can have fun. Have you ever taken a group to see a movie, and then at the end of it, had literally not one person have a complaint about a scene? I haven't. If they're just kind of silent and, like they can tell you really like the movie, and so they're not saying anything bad about it, well, here's a bit of social advice. That's probably because they don't want to offend you, and they like you, and they value your companionship. The same thing happens at your table. And the same thing happens at a martial arts dojo. Those guys, when you're doing an hour of lessons and drilling, and then 30, 45 minutes of sparring, they'll eventually stop showing up because it's not what they're there for. They're there to just have fun. And the fun part for them is the 30 to 45 minutes of sparring. That's important to figure out. It's not about just having fun. It's about where they're having fun. It's about what with they are having fun. Because fun is not some intrinsic factor where you slap a game on a label and dice are rolled, you have a character sheet, then fun is created. No, it's not an equation like that, right? There's a bunch of intangibles. There's that things that we're trying to quantify, but they're going to be different for every table, and that's the importance of the session zero. That's the importance of the social contract. That's the importance of vetting your players. And it's just so frustrating that everything I've said so far in this 11-minute video, let's chalk it up to 6 minutes of content, gets brushed off in a 5, as long as everyone's having fun. 6 fucking words boils down the whole damn thing. It's a rant now. It's a rant now, but it's frustrating. And Rolling Stag's right. It does frustrate me. It does get me mad. Not in the way that he was saying. It gets me mad because these people, they're disingenuous. They're either disingenuous or they're just ignoring us. They're just not. They want to pretend to have a conversation, but they're listening to half of what we're saying. And yes, we make these 4-hour-long streams and these super long videos, and that's why I was super happy to see Rolling Stag make just a 5-minute long one. I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes. I'm going to start wrapping it up here. When those students come to learn, who come to improve at martial arts, make the martial art, an actual skill to be good at, guess what? I find they stick around for a lot longer. I find they stick around for years. The guys that don't pay attention in the drilling portion, or the guys that don't show up for the drilling and they show up in the middle of class because they know, oh, around here's when we'll start sparring. They don't last very long because they don't get good. And it becomes fun for a few months. They're at this baseline skill level. They're maybe trending upwards a little bit just from, just from brute forcing practice. The guys that are doing the lessons, they're getting like this. And when guy who's just here for fun skills like this, guy who's actually paying attention skill is like this, there's a huge skill mismatch and they don't have fun with it anymore. Because they're just doing the same thing, expecting a different result, right? People get frustrated playing the same video games over and over again, even if they love the video game. Look at negative reviews of games that people have put thousands of hours into, like MOBAs, Dota and League of Legends are infamous for this. And part that can be changes that are made to the game, but a lot of part of that is just, you don't want to just do the same thing over and over again. You don't want to get hard stuck at a certain MMR, a certain rank, and not improve. You need to look at concrete ways that you can improve things. And while there is a lot of subjective and intangible to RPGs, there's also a lot that is concrete. There's a lot that you can just improve, that you can just get better at. And something you're doing, even just 2 hours a week, but a lot of the guys we're talking about are doing it for more than that. They have multiple games a week. Their games last for 4+ hours. Something you're doing that often. Surely you want to improve at it, right? That's just me. With a lot of my hobbies, when I find that I'm not improving at them, I drop them, right? Because I'm not having fun with them anymore. I don't want to drop them, though. I would like to keep doing them. And the way for me to enjoy continuing to do them, and in my experience, most people in most hobbies, is for finding a path to improvement. So think about that. Treat RPGs as an art form. Treat RPGs as a historical art, as a thing that you can improve at. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks.